Seriously, why was this the best book I read in February? Hey there everyone, Afrodo Reviews here. I'm bringing you books to decide, are they worth reading over second breakfast? Or do they deserve the fiery pits of Mount Doom? I didn't even hit it that time. Yes, you're a good girl. The month of February was the month of love, as you all know. Okay, so I'm going to apologize now because I don't know how loud that is on my recording. But it is very windy outside right now, and even with all my windows and doors closed, you can still hear it kind of raging out there. So if you can hear that in the background, I apologize. But if I put off recording this video any longer, it's not going to get recorded in time. So apologies. I'll do my best to get rid of it and edit if it's too bad. But anyways, where was I? For the month of February, as you all know and have been keeping up with, the month of love was me reviewing a series of romantic novels, mostly romantic comedies now that I think about it, but a couple ones such as the Harlequin romance, Hit Me With Your Best Scott. Something I started with, which was How to Marry Keanu Reeves, which was something I was super excited for, and ended up being trash. So, it was not a great month for me. Again, how was this the best book I read that month? It wasn't even that great of a book, but it was just the best book. Better than I thought it'd be, mind you, but anyways, with that to the side, I guess I've said everything I can. I'm actually genuinely shocked at how fast Not That Complicated blew up. I'm wondering if it's maybe because it's one of the newer books I've done or something like that, but I'm really glad you guys enjoyed that. I think that's my fastest video to reach 200 yet. But in any case, I'm just really glad you guys enjoyed it. I'm stoked about it. But to move on, as you've seen, I don't think I've published the video talking about Nina Hill's character just yet. But as you've seen, it's not been a great month. So let's just move on from there. I think I've said everything I can about those books, with the exception of the Nina Hill video coming up. And let's just talk about any future updates for the channel. Now, the only thing I'm thinking about changing for sure is maybe changing my get-up a little. As you've noticed, I've been more casual in my reviews lately. I started going with a button-up because it started feeling a little bit more formal. But as time went on, especially with my wisdom teeth coming out, trying to get all dressed up for it started to become a hassle that I didn't want to deal with a lot with this month. So I kind of just started doing formal stuff. And the Nina Hill video, I didn't even put on the shirt. And I realized I was more comfortable in that style, even though if it wasn't as distinct. So I might just go wearing t-shirts this next month to see how I feel about it. Other than that, there's nothing, really breaking about what's coming up. I guess the only thing I can honestly say is I'm going to try to do more side books this coming month. Like, I even have one comic book and one side book already lined up to try to read. But, as usual, the main focus will be on the main TBR that I read. Which, speaking of which, let's get into the month of March, which I will be doing as March, as voted by you guys in the community poll that I put out. What March is, oh god, what March is, what that means is I'm only gonna read books this month that start with an M. It can be the franchise name, it can be the book name, but it has to start with an M. And it just barely beat out Marvel March. I'm a little disappointed because I did have a couple cool Marvel books that I was gonna read. It wasn't just stuff like novelizations. I got a Star Trek and X-Men crossover back there that I kind of want to get into. To move on, let's get into the TBR. Now, for those of you who saw my last TBR, you know I'm doing things a bit different. Instead of doing the more stylized, while I read it, put up a, little cinematic, putting up the synopsis, I'm going to just talk. I'm just going to read it out loud and leave it on my face the entire time. That way you can see my reaction as I'm reading it. It's just something new that I'm going to try. I'm not sure if it's going to work or not, but, whatever. But, to move on, I've already curated a decent March TBR with a couple of side things. So, for the main TBR, we have this. we're going to start with Minecraft, the island. So, Minecraft, I've always kind of been interested in Minecraft. I was one of the people playing back when 1.7.10 was the newest edition. I even probably played before that. I think Rukari's live stream probably is gonna beat this video out. But anyways, so when it comes to this, I thought, you know what, this is an official Minecraft product, and I've experienced a couple other Minecraft products besides the main Minecraft thing, such as the Minecraft story mode, and I personally thought they were somewhat underrated. So I picked this up to decide, is this worth reading? Let's read the synopsis and find out. Washed up on a beach, the lone castaway looks around the shore. Where am I? Who am I? And why is everything made of blocks? But there isn't much time to soak up the sun. It's getting dark, and there's a strange new world to explore. The top priority is finding food. The next is not becoming food, because there are others out there on the island, like the horde of zombies that appears after nightfall. Crafting a way out of this mess is a challenge like no other. Who could build a home while running from exploding creepers, armed skeletons, and an unstoppable tide of hot lava? Especially with no help except for a few makeshift tools and sage advice from an unlikely friend. A cow. In this world, the rules don't always make sense, but courage and creativity go a long way. There are forests to explore, hidden underground tunnels to loot, and undead mobs to defeat. Only then will the secrets of the island be revealed. Yeah, that's kind of all there is to say about it. It's a decent synopsis. It definitely makes me interested in what's going to go on inside the book. And so a little bit of tidbit here. Max Brooks, the guy who wrote this, is actually the author of World War Z. The book, not necessarily the movie. But, so I'm kind of interested to see what he does for a Minecraft book. So, yeah. I'm not sure what else to say about that. Other than that, let's move on. The second book, I've decided to go a bit more classical route. Go into something that has been part of the literary reading experience for at least 100 years. And by that, I mean, I'm going to go into something that may help my mystery slump. The Murder of the Orient Express by Agatha Christie. Ironically, despite the big fuss I've seen about this and the movie that was made a couple years ago, I have never once actually experienced the story, at least not directly. Maybe I've done a couple things through the cultural osmosis, kind of like the And Then There Were Fewer, where a lot of stories kind of rip it off. And Then There Were None. And Then There Were None. I think it's called And Then There Were None. But I've actually never read The Murder of the Orient Express, despite how popular it is among the community. So I figured this would be a great start, and maybe it would give me a satisfying mystery, even 100 years in the future. Let's read the back and figure out what this book's about. And I'm going to apologize because I already see a name that I'm probably going to butcher. The murderer is with us on the train now. Just after midnight, the famous Orient Express is stopped in its tracks by a snowdrift. A passenger lies dead in his compartment, stabbed a dozen times, his door locked from the inside. Isolated by the storm and with a killer in the midst, Detective Hercule Poirot
Hercule Poirot
must identify the prime suspects from a scornful and impatient array of foreign passengers before the murderer decides to strike again. And that's pretty much all there is to say about it. I like it. I like the synopsis. It keeps things nice and interesting, keeps it vague enough, but makes you interested. Gives you that this mystery is definitely interesting, because how did this guy murder someone and then lock the cabin from the inside? Definitely an interesting idea. I'm pretty sure there's going to be some things in here from the times that have changed enough that probably going to throw me through a loop. Because my first thought when I read that was, couldn't he have just gone out the window? Or she. Who knows? But overall, I'm excited to see where this book goes. Excited to experience the classic. So, with that, let's move on. Now, the next book, you can thank Rukari for, because I think we have a habit of punishing each other just for existing. But the next book is Melancholy Magic Do I even need to say anything? I mean, just look at that cover. Look at that cover. Does this cover promise good things to come? So anyways, let's just read the synopsis. Briley Scott hadn't planned to move to a small town in the middle of nowhere, but when she loses her father, her job, and her home in one blow, her plans take a turn for the unexpected. Suddenly, she's the owner of a dilapidated house with some serious and illogical plumbing issues, the manager of a small-town hardware store dying a slow death on Main Street, and the caretaker of a great aunt she hadn't known existed. She owns those people? Or what? That sentence throws me. Like, is she getting to know them, or is she owning them? Because this movie looks like it takes place in modern times and not the 1800s. So, before her aunt can say, "Welcome to the Reverie Springs, don't mind the hexes," Briley and her faithful basset hound figure out that her newfound family isn't the only thing they need to worry about. From an uninvited nighttime visitor to a possible haunting, the cranky chef she can't keep her eyes off, to the truth about what happened to her great-aunt business partner, the mysteries keep coming. And when Briley's witchy sensitivities tell her something shady is going on that has nothing to do with the sugar maples standing like sentinels around her new home, she's going to have to dig deep into the mysteries of the town, the business, and her home, or risk being buried underneath them. The sentence structure here is not wonderful, guys. The people of Reverie Springs are about to find out that Briley Scott might just be the most troublesome sort of witch, a human lie detector living in a town filled with secrets. So she's a witch? I feel like that's something you should start with. Not big town girl moving to a small town. I mean, oh my god, this is not promising at all. This is going to be painful. I can already tell. This is going to be painful. Let's just move on. And finally, I thought I'd go with something that's sort of a classic, but more in the sense that I know it mostly through its osmosis. And that book is going to be Myst. Now, I don't know for sure if this is the same Myst that was used as a source material for that famous computer game, but I'm going to guess so, because of the way it's spelled, and, it says the mesmerizing novel from the CD-ROM phenomenon. I don't know if this was made before or after the game, so I definitely don't know if this is the inspiration or kind of a novelization, so to speak. But let's go into the story and read it. The ages of Myst are worlds of adventure and awe, of mystery and beauty, of intrigue and betrayal. You've seen a glimpse of the picture and know the history of Catherine and Archeress. Now take a step further into the fictional legend of Myst. It actually kind of sounds like a sequel now. These pages are your link to the story of Tiana, known among humans as Anna, the first woman from the outside world to enter the domain of the Dini. She wandered into a place she never should have seen, and her intelligence and wisdom surprised some and terrified others. When one young lord befriends her, then marries her, all layers of Dini society are shaken, but no one realizes just how deeply. The Book of Tiana is a tale of friend versus friend, of virtue against evil, and of trust and betrayal. It is a story that many do not want told, for you will watch as the unimaginable comes to pass, and only one is left to carry on the legend. So, like I said, this is actually starting to read more like a sequel to the games, rather than a novelization or a source material. So I'm gonna go ahead and assume that I need to familiarize myself a bit more with the game. If I have played it, it's been so long since I have that I honestly don't remember much about it. Honestly, my most recent experiences with Myst, the ones that sit on my head the most, is actually from Minecraft, because I have a friend who really likes the Mystcraft mod and always wants to put it into the games when we do server stuff. So that's most of my experience with it. I never understood it from the Minecraft mod perspective. I guess I don't have much else to say other than rambling. So I'm just gonna say that's the last book of this TBR. I hope it holds up. I hope it's interesting, because it sounds like right up my alley. But other than that, that's pretty much all I have to say about the current book. So, yeah, that's all I got. It's been great, everyone. Remember, with every book comes an adventure, and every adventure is worth having, even the bad ones.